Way. Hello everybody, I am Chaos Wolf, or just Wolf, and this is Ion Fury. This was developed on the build engine. If you've ever played games like Duke Nukem 3D, Blood, or Shadow Warrior, it is very similar to those. So yeah, I'm joined here by one of the developers, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, Oasis. Yeah, I was one of the developers in Ion Fury. I was working on the lead level design part. Datalon, who was supposed to join here, was also working on the level design. And a bit of history with speedrunning myself, mainly from GTA 3 back in like 7 years ago. Used to run that game on Left 4 Dead and so on. And ended up in game dev. So yeah, it's really cool to see this game being run.
Alright, well, we'll go ahead and get started then. And Datalon can just show up whenever. Alright, so here we go. Timer starts when the screen fades out to black. Alright, this first level is very straightforward. We just collect this key card, get out of this room, and proceed to the exit. First thing you're going to notice is that we move diagonally, much like most of the first-person shooters from the 90s. This is our fastest form of movement. Now we come up to our first sequence break. Normally you have to collect key cards and all that stuff, but we just go up there and trigger that explosion. Don't have to do anything. I'm going to set up a safety save here. Let's name it appropriately. Take this guy out. He's super dangerous if he gets a headshot on you. So what I did there was stand on that little bottle, and it rose my height just enough to make that jump. I'm gonna give this guy a little tickle, jump up on his head, get on that platform. Crouching underneath these doors. Get through early. Alright, there we go. So I shot the... Oh, and I didn't make it. Alright. Just lowered back down. Alright, so one thing you'll see me do a lot in this game is called reload canceling. Normally, when you fire all of the bullets in your magazine, you have to sit through a reload animation like that right there. But I can cancel it by swapping to the electrifier, which is this baton right here, and then hitting the hotkey for my weapon again. Another guy, okay, I don't like his position. There we go. Alright, and my health is a bit concerning right now, but I have a safety save just in case for the next level.
Shooting the buttons is something we really wanted to get consistent in the game when making it, because it's not actually something that's by default, so any button that looks like you can push it so you can actually shoot it.
Alright, let's go ahead and take him out. And I'm being pushed around, it's making this jump very hard. Alright, he fell off. Alright, let's reset it. There we go. That's a pretty big sequence break.
Yeah, that definitely skips like half of the map right there.
Alright, and these series of ladders here, we just spam jump on them and we go up a little bit faster than normal. Oh, might as well show this off. That's something you don't normally get to see. Everybody like Tetris?
Yeah, Devox is responsible for this Easter egg. That's a really cool one.
Alright, another thing you'll see me doing is what we call crouch jumping. Now, a lot of platforms that I'm jumping up on, normally you can't access them that easily, but if you, in the air, you hold your crouch button, you lower Shelly's height, and that allows her to clear that distance. Well, this is our first boss fight at the end of the zone. It's just a big horde fight with a lot of enemies, but we can skip it by pushing this spotted plant by holding my E key.
Despite all your rage, you are still just a rat in a cage.
Shout out to the Smashing Pumpkins. Alright. So yeah, I went while that airship was shooting rockets at me. I didn't want it to blow up the plant, so I grabbed some cluster pucks we need for the next major sequence break.
I really love that you guys figured out the plant skip, because it's just we didn't even honestly think about that one.
Alright, so I'm just taking out these guys because I need to not be pushed around while I'm setting this up. Now the developers like to put in these backtracking sections that you can normally only access on the other side, but if we set up these cluster pucks in the mine setting here, it'll allow us to skip. Alright. I'm just gonna load up a save here because I'm not liking this setup here. We got more mines this time. It ought to improve our chances, and there we go. I'm just gonna save over our safety again. That cuts out most of that level.
Yeah, unfortunately, the tiny things that bounce out, they're completely random. So if you just get the placement off even a tiny bit, then you're kind of in a really bad position. So there's a reason for the save to save as well.
Alright, so why don't we explain a bit about the story. We take on the role of Shelly Bombshell Harrison. She is a bomb disposal expert in the GDF, and she was just enjoying her night off whenever suddenly the whole place was attacked by these cultists. Did I hit that switch? These cybernetically enhanced cultists. It spills her drink, and naturally that angers her, so she sets off to take down Dr. Heskell, who's behind the invasion.
There was actually in the original concepts we had in mind that there was like a bomb that you were actually defusing in the bar, and then you got attacked. And that was something that was kind of short-lived in a sense, because we didn't want to take away the control from the player initially, so that was kind of scrapped early on.
Accidentally shot a grenade there. Oops. So yeah, we have time for this door to open, so we just grab that health kit there. And spamming jump to get up there. Switch to our electrifier, and we're gonna head over and overload this generator. And then I'm gonna top myself off, pick up these extra medkits. Alright, so we're coming up on the end of this zone. Before that, we need to pick up our boss killer, the Ion Bow. Ooh, that hit pretty hard. Alright, so this weapon here is, as the name implies, it's a crossbow that shoots energized bolts. And when you use the alt fire, hold it down, it is really devastating to bosses, especially if you know exactly where to shoot. Now all this running around I think has made Shelly hungry, so let's pick up some pizza.
Have you seen an enormous security droid anywhere?
That's so much discipline on how to do that pizza box and how to code it and how many slices it should have in.
Yeah, so that was a boss. And another zone down.
And this is always a fun one to get destroyed, to get destroyed, because the zone 3 is the one I ended up making.
Yeah, unfortunately this one has my favorite track in the whole game, but we don't get to hear much of it because we skip pretty much all of it.
Yeah, you guys managed to find a soft lock on that one and had to fix it later on in a patch because you guys were way too fast.
Yeah, as always, as he explained there, I used to have to run this little short route just to make sure that I didn't soft lock. I would run around, pick up some armor shards, head back, and head through that door. Otherwise, that lowering platform would just, like, not actually be lowered even though it appeared to. So, but thankfully they patched that out.
Yeah, there's a tiny setup on the effect, like the pedestal when it comes up there's like lots of trickery going on that fools the engine into thinking and slicing how the sector over sector slicing and whatever works, and it relies on very precise timing, otherwise the effect goes all haywire, and of course these first speedruns managed to break it.
Did I not hit that switch? Those guys are supposed to be there. There it is. Okay, thankfully we have that visual cue to know if we've hit that switch or not. Otherwise I would have...
Yeah, you'll get a prompt on the top left as well that tells elevators online. That's something I added. Might be easy to miss.
Alright, health's good, so I'm not going to take the half second to pick up that med kit right there. I think I ruined my new set of armor just as I ran in. Alright, again, just crouching to get through a little bit early. Alright, now you might have seen these enemies as I passed by them, but now they're really coming to play on this level because we're in very close quarters with them. It's called the Deacon. It's that flying thing right there. And there's about 3 of them. You gotta dodge those rockets.
And they're homing rockets as well.
Yeah, very dangerous. Alright, this new trick you're gonna see right here. It doesn't last very long because we just need that key and then head out. But this baton, when we swing it underwater, it makes us move twice as fast.
Oh. That's cool.
Is that a new one for you?
Yeah, it's a new one for me. I'm wondering what's causing it. This is very concerning. We need to find a way to patch it out immediately.
Alright, just clearing out these guys because as I unlock this door, I'll be quite vulnerable. Alright, and now we wait for things to blow up. I'm gonna get this new set of armor and some health. And we're about to be introduced to a new enemy called the Wendigo. And yeah, I'm probably the first one, like that's my biggest contribution to this speed run, is I hit them with the electrifier because they are very fast, do a lot of damage, but they'll get interrupted very easily with a baton. Alright, walking up to this window, we'll get the enemies come out a little bit early.
The boys have been waiting for you.
We're about to have another boss fight. Well, that was a boss.
Yeah, that's a surprising one as well, like when you initially were founded for the speedruns. What the boss actually is actually just a moving sprite stack, and there is actually no AI, no nothing, it just follows a set path. So if you manage to destroy it before the scripted sequences are over, it just fires like missiles and other stuff in thin midair, because there's just no AI to even know that the boss is destroyed.
Alright, this is about a minute-long elevator ride, and then we run to a train and wait for that too, so I'm going to explain again the reload cancel. So this is normal reloading, and this is reload cancel. And there's also what I call pump canceling, which only applies to this weapon here. So you can cancel the pump animation in between each shot if you rhythmically press reload, swap to electrifier, and fire the button, or fire the gun before she puts it away. And that, well, and that looks like that. Can also be done with the grenade launcher, but I'm not about to show that in the elevator there. We're sure to die.
A little bit of technical stuff here, perhaps. Like this area, whole area with the train and everything, is actually a visual projection from another area. And you actually never move at all. So if you look at the minimap, you'll see that the train actually never moves. It's actually moving the camera itself further away from the player, so you kind of get the illusion that the train is moving.
Alright, in this one I'm going to take my time a little bit to take out some of the more dangerous enemies that can also body block pretty badly. Starting from this train car onward. So him, if we wait for this deacon, I'm going to take him out.
This is a very dangerous area to move around in because the corridors are just extremely narrow, and pretty much any projectile is going to hit you, most likely because of splash damage and everything. Killing that dude basically starts the sequence for the train explosion.
Alright, again, here's the Wendigos. I didn't quite hit him. Alright, that's fine, they didn't get in our way. I'm gonna take him out, so this won't be so dangerous. Come on. Let me reload here, that's a bad spot. Alright, so what I did there was look through that tiny little gap, and I held down my E key. That way, once I actually lined up with the switch on the other side, I could frame perfect activate it and unlock that door. This works with any switch in the game. You just hold the E key and Shelly will press it as soon as possible.
And as you might have guessed it doesn't matter how narrow the gap is, as long as you can even see a single pixel of the switch, the game considers that you have direct line of sight to the switch.
We're doing a crouch jump there to get over that so we don't have to climb the ladder. Alright, now coming up is a trick that was discovered first by Draku, a Finnish speedrunner. He's an absolute legend. We get these cluster pucks here, and I'm gonna plant it on this wall, and this spider drone underneath. Okay, it didn't set it off. He probably jumped down too early. But yeah, this is the backtracking section right here.
There's a short donation coming up. Do we have time?
Sure, go ahead. I'm sorry, was that a...
Yeah, probably soon. Didn't receive a response. Okay, it was probably muted from their side. Anyway, yeah, continue on.
Okay, this trick. We jump up on this vent and onto that platform up there. This trick was a lot easier on the older patch, but they changed collision and yep, first try. That is way harder than it looks.
Wow.
Because
that's very good.
That takes about 5 inputs to do. Requires some SR50, which is basically you hold down your strafe keys along with strafe on and turn left or right, and then we buffer a jump as soon as she's able to, because in that confined space she's not able to jump right away, and it lets us jump as soon as possible, and then we crouch to clear the railing. Really convoluted explanation, but yeah, that ought to give you an idea just how tricky that one is.
I'm kind of happy that the secrets are useful in speedruns, it seems, because there's a lot of extra supplies that you can get.
Yeah, and I will be running the All Secrets category coming up pretty soon on my stream. So, if you would like to see more of this game, be sure to follow me on Twitch.
There's going to be a lot of secrets.
Oh yeah, all kinds of references to old movies, very obscure references too. Memes, other video games.
The good doctor will give you a lift.
Right, coming up here is another boss fight.
And one extra map.
Wait for those lights to turn red, him to drop down. Looks like this is a good setup. And now we pump cancel the grenade launcher. And that's that. That's another boss down.
Nice.
Alright, just gonna Safety save because this bridge collapses and I might fall off as I make those jumps.
While the sprite collision was improved, what a huge margin compared to what Duke had. The sprite collision is still very janky. It's still build engine after all, so you might suddenly like clip-proof sprites or not land properly.
Oops. Alright, for just a little bit of marathon safety, I'm going to get this power up here. It'll help us kill these enemies super fast. Don't normally get that in the speedrun. That guy still hit me in the back. Alright, now coming up is the latest discovery that I actually stumbled upon myself. And Oasis here, he found a setup, I messed around with it, optimized it a bit more, and now we have what is called the crapshoot. Because it is one part RNG, another part we swim through a tunnel full of sewage. So yeah, what that spider drone did was boost me up into another sector that contains the water. Oops, nice.
Yeah, what happens in build engine is that areas can actually exist in the same space. You can actually have multiple different, let's say, universes existing inside the same space, and the engine only cares about the one that you see at any given moment and the connections from that to other sectors that you can see. So if you make the engine confused on where the player is, it will actually place you in another area that's occupying the same 3D space, because build is completely portal based and non-Euclidean. So that's a warp you might have seen like in Duke 3D runs and so on, and we actually tried to eliminate all of those in Iron Fury, and I'm really, really surprised when you found it that there still are some.
Alright, and what you may have caught there was I actually used the grenade launcher, the physical grenade itself, not the explosion, but the collision from the grenade, to jump up onto that platform a bit earlier. And we got it pretty quickly, so I'm happy about that.
Who said rocket jumps have to be about splash damage?
Again, spamming jump to get up those ladders quickly. Alright, I'm gonna do a quick save, because build engine, that's why. If I accidentally jump into one of these bars, I might actually just kill myself.
This is us trying to do a puzzle in a build engine game.
Alright, just doing some careful strafe jumping. Well, this section here is a bit of an auto-scroller, so I'm still waiting on that donation. Now's a good time to read it.
The board resisted this idea, but they came around after
In the meantime,
procedures.
some of you might recognize the pattern of the carpet here. If you've seen The Shining,
Yeah, I really remember asking the level designers about this area. I got inspired by, there's this one level in Quake, and also in Gex 3D was where I first saw like a room that just goes lower and lower and lower. There were like paintings that would just reveal more and more and kind of get really demonic stuff and so on. So it was really inspired by that and wanted to see how it could be done in Build Engine.
So we've tried a lot of different things to kill those enemies quickly. I've tried bowling bombs, I tried the chain gun. I've recently started doing it with the cluster pucks, and I find it way more effective. You gotta be careful, that thing will just clear out an entire room, and you along with it. The Wendigo still got me. Alright. Gonna do some quick pump canceling because those guys always get in the way.
You'll have to forgive us. This area may be less than kind to a pathetic baseball.
Right here we got a key card to collect, and normally we have to press a couple switches and fight this enemy for it, but we can manipulate our hitbox, I guess, and pick it up early. There we go.
So how the heat detection in this game works is that every object is basically a sphere when X, Y, and Z. So he basically hit the very edge of the sphere, and it just happens to be like one very specific spot where you're just enough to hit the card.
Careful, Chevy. If you get lost down here.
Alright, and we get another puzzle coming up. It can be an absolute run killer. I hate it. I really wish someone would find a skip for it. But we found some ways to at least make it less of a headache. So what I'm doing is just revealing it on the map so I can see it right here. Makes it a lot easier. Okay, I gotta do that one again. Okay, these are all misaligned. Gonna do this one again. Just want to be sure. As you can imagine, if you get these misaligned and have to do it over, you'll lose a lot of time.
Is the true final boss of the game. I actually joked about having like a switch combination that's like 5 buttons before you can enter the door in the next map. And of course that's not gonna fly because there's way too many who are gonna have trouble with it. But I was joking that should be like the real final boss, and getting like a really long switch combination puzzle that some people tend to take like 10 minutes just solving those.
Oh, okay, I didn't. Oh well. He moved out of the way at least. And we wait for this next area to open up. We just clear out some enemies. Let me go ahead and top myself off. It's easily the most intense level in the whole speedrun, especially with this music here. It's just jam-packed, enemies everywhere.
Yeah, Ross made a really good soundtrack for the game. He has like a lot of background and demo scene music, and obviously, and and drum and bass and acid and so on. So it's very, very heavily inspired by drum and bass and acid and whatnot.
I'm quickly tiring of your childish
I think the previous track was actually started on an Amiga, old Amiga 500 or something like that, and he kind of touched it up for the release of this game.
Alright, there was a switch right there, but I frame perfect activated it by holding E as I fell. Making short work of both of these war mechs. We proceed to the last zone of the game. So we are almost done here.
Last zone is pretty much me going just trying to push as many set pieces as possible, basically, and gated fights, because I just wanted to keep it like a nice ride before the final boss. And, oh yeah, and Blackwell is on the chat as well. He was responsible for the scripting of the game, which is all the game code.
Okay, so right here, there's a chance I can kill this enemy. Okay, well, I think that was just a lot of lucky crits from these enemies. Okay, we didn't get the door kill. You can close the door on him and kill him instantly. Unfortunately, didn't get it there. Alright, and I'm just gonna wait for this blue frame on the door to appear, and I'm gonna start charging again, clear out some enemies. Get this power up out of this locker, not that one. I'm gonna quick save here because this could soft lock. Clearing them out of my way. They're not required to kill, they just always block me. And we're now coming up on the final boss. Boss, excuse me. Because... And I have to warn you, if you can still hear me right now over him, this part is very loud because all of his dialogue overlaps. Because this fight normally is fought in phases, but we get ourselves stuck in that chimney up there and just pump cancel grenades into this dome.
Take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, was it all worth it? What are you trying to do here, Shelly?
Yeah, that's really, really quick.
And that is Ion Fury. I want to thank RTH for giving me this opportunity to showcase this game. Oh, I didn't stop the timer. Yeah, this game is awesome. We need more runners for it for sure. We have a Discord for pretty much all the build engine games, even the obscure ones. You go to speedrun.com/if. You can join the Discord through there. There's also some tutorials if you want to learn this game. I put them together myself. They're a bit outdated, but if you watch the world record, you can learn all the new stuff. Yeah, I want to thank Oasis for commentating for me.
Thank you for playing.
And yeah, I got some shout outs to the Ion Fury speedrunning community. Hana Mamoru, who holds the world record. Deeper Jungle, who's our newest member. He's a wizard at finding tricks. Fitterspace, who moderates it currently, Dolphiner. Yeah, I think I got everybody. So yeah. Go ahead and end it here.
Thanks for the run. It was really nice to watch a lot of improvements throughout the past year when people have started learning. It's crazy how far the game has come. And we devs actively watch like a lot of the runs and are amazed, and it's really great. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.